What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Danny the Bull, here with the first episode of the No Bull Show. I'm hoping to make this a weekly roundtable episode podcast where we talk to diverse members of the community and, not shy away from any topic and just hear a variety of perspectives. Similar to what happens over on a Comeyverse. I love a Comeyverse on Mondays. I'll still be appearing on there, but what I really love is facilitating conversations and hosting, and this gives us an opportunity to do that. And today we're going to talk all things Veve and Omi, and we're joined by the patient Hodler and Mr. V from the Veve Vantage podcast. You guys want to do a really quick introduction, although I'm sure everyone knows about you already.
Yeah, okay. So what can I say? I'm around since 2 years, started my channel because of Ecomi and Veve. Hopefully most of you know it. Right now it evolved into a channel about crypto, altcoins, Veve, Ecomi in general, with daily morning streams. But yeah, thanks for having me, Danny. And I'm eager to talk about what's going on with Ecomi and Veve and everything around it.
Yeah, there's always stuff to talk about. It's amazing. And Mr. V, you yourself?
Yeah, so much like Hodler, I've been around for about 2 years now, and I guess you could say I built a reputation based on my particular style of collecting, and that really led way to being interviewed by Will Mai on his YouTube channel, and not long after that, he and I had this idea to start a podcast where I was able to bring my perspective as a particular edition collector, and the relationships I've built, the dynamic of interacting with the community members in order to pursue my collection and collecting. And Will brought a very technical approach. He's very savvy when it comes to marketing, when it comes to piecing together a lot of what can I say? A lot of elements, a lot of moving parts. And with that, we were able to bring a pretty balanced perspective to what we see on a week by week or month by month basis in the community. And here we are.
Yeah, and I got that Veve Vantage wristband. Met you guys at New York Comic Con. That was amazing to meet you guys in real life. Thanks for the wristband.
Yeah, no, that was a great time, and I'm really happy that I got to meet you and a whole bunch of other community members, and hopefully Hodler, we can link up at the next event or two.
Yeah, and it was
Looking forward.
Nice to meet this guy too in real life.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
Hey, it's all good, man. There's always got to be
got
one,
the
right?
time-
That's late to the party.
Yeah, I got the time zones confused. I thought it was 7 my time, but it was 5, and I was still at school.
All good. I think we're in 4 different time zones right now. So thank you all for coming on and joining me. Just want to start overall, I guess. I've got a list of topics to talk about, and there's always so much going on, like I said, and we can jump to the chat a little later if time permitting. But first and foremost, the bear market is absolutely grueling, right? And in stocks, crypto, digital collectibles hit hard across the board. NFT sector, a lot of projects went to zero. What's your current sentiment around Veve? Has your thesis changed in any way? Are you still feeling the same way about the project that you did when you first got into it, in 2021 or whenever?
Who is going to take that? Me?
I think you should. Yeah, go ahead, Hodler.
Okay. So definitely it's not the same feeling anymore, which mostly has to do with everything that happened during the bear market. I can remember the excitement when I thought that the House of X comic, that was the 5th comic, I think, that dropped, that the common should be worth $15 or something, right? Or 20 or 25. And everyone was excited to get only a common or I don't know, anything from the drop. And everyone was feeling lucky when they hit something. versus right now where people are basically discussing how they should lower edition sizes to make it more appealing to go for a drop and everything going under retail in terms of prices. Long story short, the excitement is, in my opinion, temporarily gone. And in the overall markets, I mean, it has been the same for many altcoins until recently. I think we have hit a point where excitement is coming back, but it's not yet the time in the NFT space. So I think that is a little bit further out, but it will also hit the NFT space, in my opinion.
Someone else want to jump on that? Viral, I know that you you're always positive, and you've got like the biggest, I think, presence on Twitter for Veve, and you've been a positive force in the whole space. Is it less exciting for you now, or are you still as excited and bullish as you were when you first started that Twitter account? Is he frozen? Viral, you hear me?
Yeah, he's
freezing up. You could take that, Mr. V. How about you?
Sure. All right. So just to rephrase your question, you're asking what my perspective is on the market sentiment,
or your own sentiment for the project. Has it changed? Has your thesis changed? Are you still as bullish as you were back when things were started?
Yeah, my opinion in terms of how I see Veve has not changed at all. When I first started, I definitely looked to other community members to see what their approach was, and I tried to emulate what a lot of people did. Like, for example, like Veve Viral, I saw, like, he was one of the first accounts that I saw and followed, and I was really surprised because I saw all these people who were stacking like crazy. And so when I first joined, that's what I tried to do. Like, I really did try and mess around with that approach. But over time, I was able to create my own, my own approach, my own style to collecting, to the point where I have what I have now. So I was able to pivot very early on to not focusing on what other people were doing around me and just kind of narrowing down what I wanted to do. And that was get one of the few things that I do like on the app, and not pay attention to like what people were stacking or what they were saying about certain collectibles and things. I will say this. I did initially go for everything, like trying to get one of everything, but then like I realized first appearances, if anything's going to be important, it's got to be first appearances and first editions for certain things. So over time, I did make those adjustments. I did pivot little by little. I did try stacking, thinking to myself, hey, maybe I missed something. But at the end of the day, I did stay true to how I did want to collect, and I still like what I'm doing on the platform.
I will
Viral,
try
you're
this
back.
time.
Go ahead. Yeah, you look much better right now.
You said
You're
the
like
question
4K.
was, is it still exciting?
Yeah, are you still as excited as you were? Has your sentiment changed in any way?
Well, I mean, compared to the very beginning, maybe a little bit, because at the very beginning, we just were under the assumption, or I don't know if it was because of the team or because of the influencers themselves, ourselves, or people on Twitter, YouTubers, just the community as a whole. We kept making it seem like every month or every 2 months, or every quarter, there was going to be just major new achievements and announcements, and it just wasn't the case. But I am still excited, as in the same. I am still sticking to my collecting strategy. I still am excited about big FAs. It's definitely less exciting when you don't know you're going to make a major return, even if it's just on paper, because I'm not planning on like selling most stuff anytime soon. But it's just exciting to know it's worth so much more than you paid for the day of. But as I'm still focused mostly on 2025, or maybe towards the end of 2024, just all in accordance to the Bitcoin halving, really, then I would say I'm still almost as excited as I've always been.
Yeah, and then I'm going to circle back to Hodler here. you said, it's not as exciting, and a lot of that has to do with the macro, and it's like that across the board. Do you ascribe, like, Veve's been on like a downward trend in terms of active users, daily active users, right? You're now seeing a trend of, unless it's like a major drop, it's not unlikely to see only 20% of supply sell, right? Do you ascribe that to the macro and a lack of liquidity in the overall market, or do you think that it's a Veve problem?
I think it's both, actually, because if it was only one or the other, probably the market wouldn't have turned down as much on Veve. So first of all, obviously the sentiment. I mean, the NFT market got completely crushed. No one or many people expected this at some point to happen for all the non-brand NFTs, that they go basically to zero on the OpenSea, where they minted garbage on end to do free giveaways, but then also collections that have been substituted by other collections of no brand NFTs going for, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 ETH in the bull run, and now is sitting basically at zero. That obviously destroyed the sentiment. But on the other side, Veve also has an internal problem, and that is the current gem market. The way that it is designed, where basically the inflow is a bottleneck, but the outflow is, let's say, only limited by a couple of percent fee, or 10%. It's a lot if you have a little bit of money, but if you made hundreds of thousands of gems in the market, it's actually not that bad, even if you deduct 10%. And I think then if you consider all the fees, the licenser fees, the market fees, the trading back and forth, also the incentive to trade, there is so much liquidity drain in a phase where also not much liquidity is going into the market. And that puts pressure on sentiment as well, because it causes that no matter what you score on a drop, basically rips you right away into the negative. And people always say, yeah, but this is only an investment perspective, and you should be there for collecting. Yes, but if I know that I can get the piece that I want for 20% discount on the market, I will not go for the drop in the first place. So that keeps people from participating in drops. And I think this will only go back or revert when liquidity can come into the app, which raises the question, what are we going to do about it, right?
So then, is it a liquidity problem?
Yes, it is. It was a liquidity problem in Bitcoin and altcoins. It's a liquidity problem in NFTs, and it's a double liquidity problem in Veve, because liquidity is not there because of sentiment, is not there because no inflows, and is not there because it's too much drain at the same time, in my opinion. Yeah.
So then, in terms of, I've talked a lot about edition sizes, right? Do you think that is also impacting, like they haven't adjusted edition sizes enough? I know Viral, you're of the opinion of, you don't want them to continuously reduce edition sizes because you think it devalues, things that have already,
collections.
Yeah, your previous collections.
Yeah, I do want to lower the overall amount of gems they are like squeezing out of us on drop days, but mostly by dropping the sales price, rather than just all making everything scarcer and scarcer and scarcer always, because then that's going to make everything that we already hold seem less appealing from a collector standpoint. Because it's like, oh, you have everything from 21, 22, and 2021, 22, and 23. That's like back when there was high editions. Nowadays, everything is 50 or 80 editions, 90 editions. So that would devalue everything we already hold. But if they make everything cheaper, I think it would still sell out, and it would still add excitement to the market, even if it's smaller amounts of money. But like, oh, I paid 8 for this, and now it's worth 15. At least it feels good to know you didn't instantly lose value, because collectors do still care about money.
Yeah, Mr. V, you have any thoughts on edition sizes and strategy? If you were at the helm, how would you handle it?
Well, I would second everything that Viral and Hodler have mentioned wholeheartedly. And another layer to consider is that these different IPs have these set expectations. They have contracts with the company as well. So I'd imagine that they expect Veve to hold their end of the bargain as well, and for the company, for Veve to make any adjustments in those contracts would lead way, I'd imagine from a business perspective, lead way to other conditions changing as well. And I don't know what those contracts look like, but I would imagine that, it's being a middleman as they are. It's There's always going to be some people who are upset on both sides. But again, I completely agree that I am of the mind that the edition sizes are very large, still, that the prices are still pretty high. Um, but at the end of the day, like, for me, from my perspective, from my point of view, from what I'm trying to accomplish on the app, it doesn't really affect me all that much, uh, with the exception, with the big exception, the big point that my vault value has been decreasing like crazy. Um, there's no other way of putting it. It's pretty embarrassing to see like what it's at right now, but it is what it is. And also with the whole with as people continue to buy from the market, from the store, those gems are effectively leaving the secondary market for further activity, right? So as more people buy straight from the store, we're not going to see those gems again. And yes, some people are buying gems, myself included. I do buy like on a monthly basis a healthy amount, but I if I do buy from the store, it's with the understanding that now if I want to jump into the secondary market, well, there's going to be less in circulation. So, you know, that's where we kind of weigh those options. Is it worth buying from the store, or do we almost know for as a guarantee, like we're gonna be able to buy things at a discount? And I've come to find that I'm better off buying from the secondary market and just waiting and paying like a bit of a premium for whatever I do like, rather than gambling on store purchase, unless the price is right.
Yeah, so then doesn't that speak to the fact that they'd be, I know they have to please like licensors, right? But wouldn't licensors be more pleased if they reduce edition sizes but are able to sell more product, right? Because people like you who are hardcore collector, you're looking to pick things up, you're sitting on the sidelines and waiting for the secondary market because you know that it's just going to go underwater. So like I understand the concept of wanting to, make the most money as possible on a drop, right? And you want to please your licensors and also generate that revenue. They're a business. But ironically enough, selling less product will allow them to make more money, I think.
I would think that, if I may,
Yeah.
I think that there's the opportunity cost in the present as well as the long term, and not all of the IPs have their store items, the items that are left in the store get burned, and we don't have those timelines very very clear cut, right? So for Marvel, we do know that after X number of months,
Yeah.
approximately, those editions are going to get burned. Disney, on the other hand, we've seen some of their items left in the store for an extended period of time. So I'm willing to bet that, like, Disney's okay with taking that, foregoing that short term profit for long term, just knowing that if they leave it there long enough, that those numbers are slowly going to go down in this store, and those additions are going to end up in the market, in the secondary market, right? Now, I don't know, and I can't really speak to what Marvel's approach is, because they're willing to burn those collectibles after X number of months. So we do have a, a very interesting contrast right there.
Yeah. We got a super chat from Stan. Thanks, Stan, for the super chat. And this kind of leads into my next question also. She says, Veve has a very every imaginable IP known to man. What's Veve's major hurdle from a parabolic surge? Which kind of ties into my next question is it just a matter of crypto pumping again and arbitrage between like OMI and into Veve and the macro recovery for Veve to recover and prices to go up? or is there something else that's in the way, like Stan is asking?
Yeah, I don't know, viral. Viral was saying something to someone else. Okay. No, actually, I think there is something else standing in the way. I mean, if excitement comes back, that is good. We see it in the Ecomi price when there is something announced. And I think that's what's missing. So in parallel to the excitement coming back, milestones have to be delivered. And for the Ecomi token as much as for the Veve app. And we have, as mentioned here, so much IP, so many brands, and so many channels that could help with marketing. But it's not yet utilized. And I can understand that you would not want this in a phase where all eyes are on Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETFs and everything, and no one cares about the altcoins. But I really hope that we are not going into full-fledged altcoin season, and the only project that we are not hearing anything from is Ecomi Veve, right? So that is my, so to say, my concern. Because ultimately, if you only look at it from a investment or maybe degen investing perspective, the only thing that matters is narrative. So you have to really push your narrative out in the end. You can have a token that never does something, but if you are putting metaverse and Web3 and I don't know what plans and roadmap clearly out into that bull run, then you will attract massive liquidity. And yeah, I just hope that they will roll this marketing machine in that time.
So for you, a hurdle is not following through on the OMI side of things and not taking advantage of that.
Both of it, because we were also supposed to get gamification for the existing users via MCP so that you can use your MCP points. But they also see probably that at the moment there's no real use for that, because if many drops do not sell out and people are not desiring that, there are only a couple of drops that you really would want to throw MCP points in. I understand that you don't want to roll that out at the moment. And that said, maybe to the previous point, there was 1 or 2 drops that I really remember, which you could use as an example that have really had an impact. One of that was, for example, Miles Morales, because the secret rare was super scarce, 250 editions only for an animated collectible that everyone wants. And we see it reflecting in the price, and still everyone takes it as an example. And the other one is AF-15 because it's so iconic. And it's the opposite because it has more editions than other comics, 10,000, I think, total. And yet still the common is at what, $300 or something. So those are 2 good examples, in my opinion, of very well designed drop with edition sizes and attracting or creating excitement. Yeah.
There's another question, another super chat. Thanks, Stan. In your professional opinion, is there a timetable for a company to be successful, or does Veve have unlimited time for success? Who wants to take that one?
I mean, I feel like in the collectibles industry, well, the company itself might not benefit as much, but maybe the holders, assuming we were able to hold the collectibles without Veve succeeding, it usually is like the longer you wait, the more time passes, the more legendary they become or historically significant. However, Veve as a company, touching back on the other question, like the reason I feel like it's not going parabolic right now, besides the general bear market, it's because most of the liquidity that came in about a year and a half ago was from people chasing that Web3 narrative, like, oh, OMI utility is coming, exchanges are coming, interoperability is coming. So once those things like died down or didn't come, at least soon enough, the money stopped pouring in. So I think for it to go parabolic again, those Web3 expectations need to be checked off, and then combined with the bull run, and then just the real collectors that'll take, or the traditional collectors that'll take more time, just as AR gets adopted, as the idea or notion of digital assets gets adopted, as Veve and Veveverse become funner to use to the point where even kids might know about it and want some, just like they want V-Bucks right now.
Yeah. Mr. V, what do you think in terms of a timetable? Do they have to execute within a certain amount of time or risk further eroding the user base?
I don't think so. Like, so to tie the two questions together, whether like in regards to it becoming parabolic and finding success. So like when I was first starting, and just to frame things, I was working on a doctorate on, and one of the elements to that was what motivates people. And what motivates people is identity. And so like we all have different types of identities, right? So for example, we have Veve Viral, we have Danny the Bull, we have Patient Hodler, and myself, Mr. V, right? As we find more value in a particular identity, I mean, like that's one, right? You might be a parent, you might be a sibling, you might be I don't know, a spouse, like all of those things, or an employee, a manager, a boss, all of those things are identities. But we all prioritize what identities are most valuable to us. And we can only be good at 2 or 3 of those things. So what I see happening is that Veve needs to continue working towards creating this platform where people can create an identity where they find value. All of us bring something different to the table, I think, in addition to many other people in the community. There's a person who does that, another person who's known for this and that, right? Specialists who may be very familiar with Disney, Marvel, the independent artist, stuff like that. As those opportunities continue to arise and over time, organically, there's going to be success because those people are going to have the others gravitate to them. It's kind of like when you move into different neighborhoods based on the stigma that it might have that there might be, right? If there's a positive stigma, people who tend to be positive want to gravitate to that. If there's a negative stigma, people are going to want to gravitate to that. But there's going to be something for everybody, right? So I think that in terms of a timetable, I think it's going to occur organically. As more and more people are able to find an identity where they can express themselves, share their passions, and things of that nature. So I think it's not a matter of if, but when.
Hodler, do you want to chime in?
I basically agree with that long-term view, but I think there are ups and downs in the middle of it, and there's a risk, of maybe not taking the chances when it's time to take them. So it's, in my opinion, it's easy to say yes, in the next 20 years it will gradually grow to a level where adoption looks good, but I like to look a little bit more short term in that sense, because right now we have certain milestones that we were expecting, some of them 2 years ago, some of them 1 year ago, some of them recently have at least seen a phase or so. So like for example, the OMI integration into the app, which for the first time tied the OMI token to the app, very loose still, but it did. And now we want to see a follow-up. I think that the only thing that really, really matters here is the confidence of the existing base, because if that confidence breaks, then there's nothing to build on. Veve has one time more or less tried to abandon the existing base in terms of saying, hey, look, you guys are all Web3 people with your interoperability, but we are actually catering to another audience, where the community said, and then show us this other audience. And it was just not there yet. So you cannot lose this existing base. And I think maybe this existing base has to carry Veve into a future in 4 years or so, where really that retail base, just as with Bitcoin right now, will discover all of that world of NFTs and digital collecting and virtual reality and I don't know what. But until then, it is us nerds, degens, moon boys, fathers, all together rowing in one boat. I think
water,
that's
sometimes there's water coming into the boat.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's just
trying to get that water out.
Again. Yeah, but that's how I see it, and I think it's important for Veve to see what people. I hope they see what people need to stick with the project. That's it, we always say the project, but in the end, it's a company, and you could turn the question also, or this question that is marked here with the donation says. The previous one that was up, it said, does Veve have unlimited time to be successful? You can be successful right now because there's a lot of money that is coming out of the drops, but it is gems in, gems out. If your products in the aftermarket go to zero, you will not be successful in the end, right? If everything goes to zero, which at this time will not happen. But if the community, the entirety of the community declares the project as, or the company and their product as dead, then that would be really, really bad for the entire company.
Yeah. I'm going to get to this super chat in a second, but I like, Mr. V, what you talked about with identity, because I do think that the strength, the biggest thing that Veve and Omi have going for them is the community. And I think that's because of the diverse IP. And so, like you said, there's different expertises, different fandoms. You got the comics people like, Sleepin' and other just enthusiasts. You've got like vaultaholics who love building and creating vaults, and the Veveverse will open up a whole other level to that. So I think that is absolutely the key to long-term success. But I also agree with Hodler in that you can't squander time and opportunity, and they have to and alienate, I guess, those people. That's just my 2 cents. And Stan has another question here. Thanks for another super chat. Will Veve collaborate with comic stores? We see the Addiction drop, which was pretty successful. It was the first indie drop. It sold out. I went to Comic-Con. I was there on Saturday, and the 9.8 CGCs, there were just a few left. I was able to pick one up for myself, but the physicals did really well also. Do we see more collaborations like this in the future, or potential partnerships with stores where Veve product is now sold physically in stores?
Speaking of physically in stores, I do think the answer is yes. I think over time they're going to start dabbling a little more with physical comics and toys and collectibles. And I just saw that mine just got here finally.
Oh, what?
So I'm going to open it shortly. Maybe
Oh!
maybe live on stream. I just don't want to risk showing my code. I don't know how to go about it without risk.
Maybe you can just show the Iron Man himself without.
Yeah. I guess I'll open it and then not show that, and then I'll show the Iron Man afterwards.
That's amazing.
One day early. So if yours says a future date, you have hope that it can arrive sooner.
You're giving me some ideas too. What
do we got?
Oh, you have yours as well? Unopened?
Oh, it's in the green screen. It's hidden. There it is. He got another one too. Should we open those on stream today?
Are
you gonna open it?
I've got 2 here with me. I don't know when, but if we get enough interest,
I think you should open them up. What do you think? Blast the chat. Yes.
You should both open it on the stream and then reveal it like one by one. See who has the bigger Iron Man.
Watch. I don't know how that sentence is gonna finish.
Yeah, the bigger Iron Man.
Well, full transparency, these aren't mine. They're friends, but they said that I could open them for him. So
it seems like people want you guys to open them. No pressure, but Mr. V, you want to open yours? Your friends?
Okay. All right.
You
know what was number one on stream.
Yeah, exactly. You guys know what could happen. Someone here could pull the $40,000 ticket.
The computer will probably turn off as soon as if that were to happen. So I'd be running.
Let's go.
I'm kidding. It's
Just
not
make sure you don't show codes.
Yeah, don't show codes. Be careful. Let's see what we got.
Oh my God. Okay.
How heavy are these things? I heard that they're like 18 pounds. Are they heavy?
Not too heavy.
All right.
Viral is muted. He cannot answer. Yeah.
I unmuted him. Maybe not. Nope.
Well, I was saying 3.8 kilos. So for the you're the German streamer. Can you tell us how much kilos that is?
Yeah,
we don't use
kilos
kilos
works
up
for
here.
us.
Okay, I'm gonna get up so I can.
While they're opening these up, Hodler, do you think this Funko thing is going to move the needle for Veve? Are you excited about this partnership?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about the partnership because I think it's important to have this bridge to the physical world to get people from physical into digital and vice versa. That's ultimately the value for these companies that Veve provides. So Veve has proven to be a money machine for Marvel, and probably way more than they expected, because in the beginning they planned to only release 2 to 3 comics or 5 or 10, and now they're just putting out comics 2 times, 3 times, sometimes 5 times per week. So I think that I think we have one, right? We have a result there already.
Let's see, Mr. V. What do we got?
Common Gang.
Oh, Common Gang. All right.
Oh, it's not open yet, but
No,
he's
it's not
on
open.
mute.
You gotta
You're
open
on
it.
mute. You're on mute.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
I did not open it yet. It's still in the
Oh,
box.
Okay.
I thought it's Common Gang. Okay, I was.
Well, that's gonna bring me good luck, or my buddy good luck.
Yeah, it would suck if it's a secret rare and you bought it for your buddy. I mean, great for him.
You know, I had the choice. Like it was a last second thing for me. I overspent at Comic-Con, so I decided, you know what, I gotta be a little more responsible and take care of things at home before I start spending more money.
I feel you.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna get it either, but once I saw everyone posting about it, I got it on the rebound.
Yeah, I was also a day of decision. I wasn't sure, but I saw the excitement, and I thought it's a historic drop, and if they continue to do partnerships and it's successful, the first Funko ever would be pretty dope to have and keep behind me with these guys.
Yeah, that's the word I used to purchase any to justify any collectible. If it has a first somewhere in there, and I was like, oh, it is a first.
It is, yeah, it's a first.
Interesting. I think they could have used it a little bit better in terms of having matching mints or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think they missed an opportunity for the real digital deal there, but it's still a super cool thing. Okay. We have a result there.
Got a result. What do we got, Mr. V?
Okay, I'm gonna reach for the card without looking at it, so I remove that first. Okay.
Yeah.
If I can get it. Okay. All right. Ready?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Wish him luck. Wish his friend luck. It's can't see because the green screen.
All right, I'm gonna turn off the green screen for this because you can't really.
Let's do it.
How do I do this?
Oh, that's a perfect background for this too.
Oh, shoot. All right, I'll see you.
Yeah, no, I think we see a head.
It's definitely Iron Man.
I see his face.
It's still covered, I think.
He's still covered. You can't see him.
Ooh,
Is that a rare?
Yeah, that looks like a silver.
Is that the rare or the ultra rare?
This is the one of 650.
Nice.
What's that?
Ultra
Uncommon?
that's rare, right?
Oh, rare.
I don't know.
So.
Let me check.
I haven't been paying attention. What is that? Anyone in the audience can help us?
That's the
Pretty
uncommon,
dope.
right?
Viral, you want to open yours? Is yours ready to go?
Yes.
That's a good one, man. I think anything but the common's nice too, but I guess you want a variant, man.
Okay, here we go.
Let's go, Viral. Good luck, man. Wish him luck.
It's an Iron Man.
Common Gang.
Common Gang.
Common Gang.
Oh.
Edition number 1, though. I'm about to check
Oh,
the edition.
let's go.
No, I don't know. I don't
Imagine.
know.
I know. Dope. You got a second one over there, Mr. B?
I do.
wanna
It's
open
gonna, give me like a minute or two because it's still
Sure.
in the box. Give me a
Do
second.
your thing. Do your thing. Mine are
Just the
delayed.
thing on the first one here, did it have a blue point dot in the chest or is it a silver dot? Because the uncommon has the silver dot.
It's a white, like a white or
Yeah,
silver
or
dot.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's the uncommon then.
Okay. All right. Give me a
We
minute.
got one more to open. We'll give him some time to do that. Let me see this. Yeah, so you do you think you guys think that this is going to be an ongoing partnership with Funko?
I think
No.
so, especially since it's
Yeah.
their most expensive release ever and it's sold out.
Yeah. You know, I saw Dan.
Right? It's the most expensive Funko they ever sold, I think. Like the store.
Might be.
I read that
I saw it
somewhere.
at New York Comic Con. I tried to talk to Dan and get it out of him to ask him if this was going to be an ongoing thing, but he wouldn't answer.
I don't think they would do a whole party and have the CEO there for
The
one release.
Yeah.
The founder
I
of
didn't even know
Funko.
I didn't even know the CEO was there until afterwards. I saw pictures. So many people I didn't know who they were, and I saw pictures afterwards. I'm with this person. I'm like, I didn't know that's who that was.
Yeah, I found out
Also-
people were there. I had no idea they were.
Also, you see, basically with only shipment into the US, they sold this thing out in 24 hours or something like that. I don't know. Some people in the beginning, it seemed that it sold out within minutes, but I think it took a day or so. But nonetheless, I mean, there were so many people complaining that they're not shipping into other countries. So probably they have to do an action plan how you can deliver Funko stuff digital into the world, because Europe would be crazy, but I think Europe would buy another 3,000 to 4,000 of these easily, maybe more. Yeah.
Yeah. Sleepin makes a good point. Companies are always looking to move up a price bracket. It's particularly difficult for established brands, but perhaps Funko can use Veve to move up. And then they can normalize it for some of their other drops. Because I'm sure this is also, one, it's an 18-inch figure, but also like, you know, there are 3 people taking a cut, the licensor, Veve, and Funko. But now this can almost like kind of like normalize it maybe. What do you got? We open?
All right. Let's do it.
Let's get it. Wish them luck, guys.
Let's go. Secret Red.
It looks like Common Gang.
another
Common Gang.
Oh man. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one open was the best. Still dope.
Absolutely. But it looks good.
Yeah, very nice. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I was just thinking about this Funko partnership, because do we know if Funko gets the similar share like Disney on the secondary market for all the digital counterpart? If it's traded on secondary market, will they also make a cut for Funko? I think probably yes, and then this is really lucrative. They not only sell the physicals, but they also get on these secret rare trades. I don't know, if someone buys it for 10,000, a 6% cut. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's another interesting layer to it, right? But
Yeah.
speaking of Dan, I said that I met him at New York Comic Con and asked him that question. There's someone here who's asked him a bunch of questions. I think that was yesterday. Mr. V, right? You and Will Goes Meta on your VV Vantage podcast had the opportunity to interview Dan Crothers. Is that correct?
That is correct. In all, it was probably an hour and a half long conversation.
And when's that dropping?
So they're gonna well, we have to edit it and just make sure that everything is like okay. We'll give them a chance. We'll give Dan a chance to make sure that he said everything that he wanted to say, or just make sure everything's on the up and up. And then when we get the green light from him, we'll go ahead and post it. Hopefully within the next couple of days.
Do you want to tell us anything
Yeah,
about it? Any questions that you asked? Any topics that you guys discussed?
Sure. Give me a second here. My memory is awful, so I kind of have to look back. All right, so we looked into we asked him about his background, how things may have changed or pivoted, how he may have pivoted. He might have pivoted from when he's first started to today, and like what that looks like on a day-to-day basis. We touched on the Veveverse. We may or may not have a preview, first public preview of what the Veveverse looks like.
Oh,
we may. He's gonna be. He said that he'd share some with us to post for the public to see. So stay tuned. Keep your eye out for that.
dope.
Awesome.
By the way,
have you seen it yet? You don't have it yet?
Nope. Nope. We touched on. What else did we touch on? Man, if I say anything, then it's gonna kind of spoil the surprise. It's like you can kind of let your imagination go wild with that. We did ask about like updates to the app and how that's gonna look in the near future. He did provide some months where we could look forward to some things some significant things coming up that would boost morale for the public. Yeah, man. If I say anything here, then it's gonna
Spoil
it. Yeah.
Well, were you more bullish or less bullish after the interview?
It just reassured me more than anything. It was just reassurance that what I thought was that we're gonna have promises be kept. And he sprinkled in some explanations as to what may have caused some delays. So, nice. It's some good transparency that we were all hoping for, as well as realistic expectations that we can be satisfied with. So I guess you guys are just gonna have to stay tuned, wait for the podcast to get released. Will and I will post on our X accounts when that's coming, and it's going to be a good one.
So the podcast first, and then a couple days later or a day later, the YouTube video.
Correct. We always drop the podcast at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the day that we release it, whatever day that may be, and then the video we try and make sure it doesn't overlap with big things that people like to do, like football games, like anything like that. What else can I say?
Do you have a release date already?
Not yet. We have to get the green light from Dan first to say like, okay, this looks good. Because also he's been sick, so there's like some coughing and stuff like that. So we want to edit that stuff out. Little things. But we asked some hard hitting questions. We didn't hold back. And I think the public is going to be satisfied with the majority of what we got from that.
Is it one more question? Is it only the Veve side and Veveverse, or did you also address Ecomi token topics?
In brief, we did try and touch on the Ecomi side. He did speak to that part of the business in brief as much as he could. I will say that.
Can I ask if my question got asked without giving me the answer from Twitter? That Will did list your questions.
He did list everything, and then we kind of compressed everything, so we should have had that addressed. We should have had that addressed.
It was about Omi Burns and the Veveverse.
In some capacity, we tried to touch on those things. If it was off the table, then you'll notice that it was omitted from the conversation. And full transparency, we didn't get to discuss anything at length that was off the recording. So you guys feel free to check my account. I'm not stacking anything or doing anything unusual. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, stay the course. But it's more reassuring than anything. I will say that.
Can't wait for that. So everyone, make sure that you subscribe to the Veve Vantage podcast. That's on Spotify and anywhere podcasts are found, correct? And
Yes,
sub to the Will Goes Meta YouTube channel.
correct.
Yeah. And while you're at it, make sure you sub to Patient Hodler and follow that guy on Twitter. But this is a good segue into OMI, because we were just talking about OMI token. And what do you guys expect from OMI? Do you think that OMI will be a little more front and center as we get closer to the halving? In January, we know that the team is going to France to talk at that crypto summit. So I'm assuming they'll be talking. They're there for OMI, obviously. Do we expect some more focus on OMI now? What do you guys think? Hodler, you want to start that one off?
Yeah, I definitely hope so, and I think yes, everything points to it. The foundation has been laid with the integration of OMI into the app, as we mentioned before, and that crypto summit with the soon with the red circle, and then every speaker is more crypto related. Then I really hope that they are going into important and interesting stuff, tokenomics, whatever, presenting of the Ecomi token. It's here in Europe, it's in France. If they confirm the speakers fully, I will probably book a ticket and try to get in touch with the team. Obviously, my channel always evolved a little bit more around the Ecomi token than the Veve collectibles, but so that is the perfect chance for me, I think. Yeah, in terms of price action, I think once there is something big coming out, hopefully the exchanges fall in line and start listing the token. That is my hope.
Viral, what do you think?
I would like to say yes, out of, I hope so. I mean, I would say the more time that passes, the more likely that we are closer. So long, under the assumption that they will eventually give us the utilities we want, both in the Veve app and the Veveverse and the exchanges we want. If we're under the assumption that they will eventually, then we are closer than ever to getting it. And my hope is that they are maybe trying to be more efficient with the deliveries and waiting for the bull run to, like, okay, now we have this utility, now we have this exchange. It could be that, or maybe it's just a matter of it's harder than we would assume to implement, considering all the brands and the Apple Store and all that. I personally am hopeful that they will give us the utilities we are looking for. I'm not as convinced that they'll give us the burns we are looking for. At least any implementation that would burn a significant amount between now and the next peak of the bull run. But long term, I do think there will be good, solid burns. But I do still believe that we'll get utilities in some exchanges at some point during the next bull run. And also, I just want to mention that though I got the common, I got number 9.
What?
Whoa.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Single digit?
Yeah, number 9. I just checked the
Wow.
Congratulations.
That's the
What?
lowest
Oh, man.
right now.
That's big.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
pretty low.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
What are you going to do with
My
it?
paper hand. I'm probably gonna paper hand. I mean, for like a
I
high
would
price.
paper hand, honestly.
You would or you wouldn't? I don't know what to do.
I would.
Damn.
Wait,
that's
wait. So is there 4 number 9s or only 1 number 9? I
There
still
are
didn't
4
get-
number 9s.
there are
yeah.
4 number 9s. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought there were 5 areas.
But this
mean,
is the
fine.
lowest in existence on the market for the common Iron Man.
Yeah, right now it
I
would be the
think,
lowest.
right?
But that I always focus on that might not be the case forever. That it's the lowest. That's nice. I feel happy now.
Wow.
there's a-
Congratulations.
Awesome.
When did you realize?
Thanks, guys.
Did you realize
The
right
first
away?
one
Or did you just
is
realize?
number
No, right
11.
now it took me a while. I had to change my password login. It wouldn't let me in, but I just logged in right now and redeemed the code, and I was like, oh snap, number 9. Oh wait, I want to hear from Sleeping Comics. 9 is a good number 2. Is that related to something Iron Man or Marvel related or comics or just because it's number 9?
39. 39 is Tales of Suspense 39.
It's one half of 69 also. Paradox.
One half of 69.
Yeah, one half of 69.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
There's actually a whale
that is number 11 is listed for 696K, and then some 10Ks there. So you would have the lowest on the market.
Oh wow. I'm a undercut the guy asking for 696,000. I'm only gonna ask for 695,000. So I'm gonna put a steal out there.
It's fair. It's a fair deal, right?
That's pretty sick, man. Do you guys think, we'll jump back to Omi in a second. Do you think that they said that they're likely not to release sub 41s in future Funko drops? How do you guys feel about the sub 41s not being in existence? Do you think they made a mistake on that from the beginning? Or do you think that 41 is now the new one?
That's tricky. I think I would say that as long as everyone understands that, I mean, there's a lot to this. This is a very dense question. So thank you for putting us under some heat with this question. First off, but with this, I think that there's this understanding by the general public that 41 for the collectibles is the lowest public edition available, and that there's some prestige to that. There's people can make a name for themselves as they collect these. I mean, like we have some big time collectors like CB, Mr. 41, Rolex, and a couple of other big names who collect those, and we all know who those people are, right? So I think if anything were to change, I think the same heavy hitters are going to pursue those just to kind of like lock in that prestige, that status that comes with owning those, and the bragging rights, right? But I'm conflicted too. I feel for those people who see that their lowest editions are not the lowest ones made available to the public. Like with the giveaways.
I'm those people. I have a couple 41s.
Dang. Which ones?
Cinderella, and then I think it's a Mighty.
Oh, really?
Cinderella, the little whatever.
Oh yeah, the illuminated artwork.
Yeah, technically the first Cinderella NFT, but it's not an FA like labeled.
I think it was a mistake to not release those numbers in the first place. I think they should have withheld a random mint or a number if they want to withhold for giveaways, random mint numbers from the entire set. And yes, every 100 or 1,000 drops, there could be a number one that is held back or so. But I think from a collecting perspective, it doesn't make really sense. Let people fight over the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It really doesn't make sense. But now you cannot go back, in my opinion, because
right.
if you dump the rest of the 40 mints on top of, for example, Veve here with his number 41, then it's like, okay, thanks for that. Now the liquidity concentrates on everything beyond 41. And I think they have released some of the sub 41s in some giveaways a while back, which I think was a big mistake as well, because it just created fun. No one was excited about this. So now they have to stick with this, or but even then at some point maybe release everything from 1 to end, but they can never release the sub 41s for the big drops, I think, because otherwise they would destroy the market.
Yeah. Here Taco Breaks. I saw this on X. Thanks for the super chat. Pulled 2 black and gold Ironmans on his Taco Breaks YouTube video this morning, and he got them both in the same order. That's pretty sick, man. Congrats on that.
Someone do the math on that.
What are the odds? And how does that happen?
Go to the casino now.
Yeah.
Go to the casino right now. Or buy
yourself. You're gonna buy a lot of tacos. Congrats. It's pretty sick.
But
That's
go ahead.
insane.
I agree with Hodler. Like in terms of if for like future drops, if they can make that adjustment, make like more of the sub 41s available, that'd be great. And then with the previous ones, if there's anything that they could do to and willingly and legally be able to remove those and make sure that they don't enter the secondary market, that'd be great. For the sake of the people who've already been heavily investing in lowest public editions.
That would be pretty cool. Like long-term people will know, like, oh, you have a sub 41 and from season 3 or 5, like they would just become known that like those first, what season are we in? 6?
7.
About
I
to
think
enter the
it's
7th?
7's coming, right?
Yeah, 7 any day now.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I think that
7 is coming. Oh, okay. Yeah, that way it could be known like, oh, the first 6 seasons they held back X mints. And I guess I wouldn't mind even as a 41 holder if they released like very slowly, like a handful a year, and it was like auctioned off or like in Omi and it burned it. Something that still felt like they were giving back to us. But like if it was like a very special case, not like let's release 10 of this one all at once. Like if it was like one of each season each year, like something where it's just was very, very special. But even then it would hurt because what if one of those 10 they released that year, they released number 40 Cinderella, and I was like, oh, there goes my 41. So
Yeah. It's kind of
it's
tricky.
tough. It's tough because they already started that way.
Yeah. Circling back to Omi, which we were just talking about, I'm of the mind, I know like we've been waiting for exchanges for a long time. At this point, I'm of the mind that they should just wait now for the bull run and time it a bit in order to get the most eyes on not only Omi but on Veve, because when people, if and when Omi starts trending and jumping and gets eyes on it from a big exchange listing, it'll naturally draw eyes to Veve. Do you guys think that they should wait and time it, or do you want it just done? Let's get this thing going already.
They can't wait and time it because you don't need permission to list the token. So, and this is likewise concern and hope, because the question is, why did all those exchanges never list the Komi token? But you cannot really influence it. Way back, Gate.io, for example, they just guerrilla listed the token. They did never talk to the team. They just listed it. You can, as an exchange, you can just go to one of those whales, X founders or something, and make an OTC deal for I don't know how many billion Omi tokens, fill your wallet, and then start selling that. So there's really no timing, and that raises the question: why is there no exchanges doing that? Yeah.
Hodler, do you know this? Do you know about this? I've heard that you could pay the exchanges to list them, but does it have to be from the team, or could it be just anybody who pays an exchange to list a token?
Yeah, you can pay for it, so you can spark that, but you cannot avoid going on an exchange if an exchange goes and guerrilla lists you. So you can file for, hey, list us, here's why, and here's our compliance, and we support, we do not have any vulnerabilities, we support the token. I don't know. I think there is standard due diligence papers for Coinbase, for Binance, and so on that we have or looked at long ago. But this is true. Yes, you can spark that right in the bull run. You can go to all of these lower exchanges. You can go to KuCoin and say, hey, look, here's some money, please list us. But you cannot tell the exchanges to not list the token. I think you cannot forbid it. Yeah.
Right. And the market's turned around a bit, right? Bitcoin 34,000, anticipation of the Bitcoin ETF. Meanwhile, traditional, like the stock market, has been tanking. It's in big correction phase because of quarter three earnings. Do we think that this crypto surge is sustainable and we're in the start of the next run, or do you guys think it's a fake out?
I think it depends how someone defines a run. But I mean, haven't we had like 3 green quarter? I don't know if the third quarter was technically green, but I mean, we've been on an upward trajectory for like what 10 months now. Uh, and I do think we'll mostly continue up. Not that there will not be pullbacks between now and then, but I don't think we'll see new lows. Uh, Maybe it'll retrace, maybe even high 20s, maybe even mid 20s. But I think overall, if you check in 3 months from now, it'll still be a little bit higher, if not the same. And then 3 months again from then, it'll be the halving. And we all know what tends to happen then. It's not guaranteed, but so many catalysts line up to make me believe that it will, from the halving to the ETFs to inflation keeps going down for the most part, at least in the USA. And then it'll be an election year, and I feel like they're gonna probably keep oil down to force inflation to be lower. And I just feel like all the catalysts are there to keep moving forward. Not that there won't be retracements along the way.
Yeah. Hodler, what do you think? I know you do your Bitcoin and crypto coffee every morning, so I know you follow this stuff closely.
Oh yeah, sorry. I think yes. So Virus, right? The catalysts are lining up. Really, the negativity. I think we are in. If you look at the sentiment chart, we are in disbelief, somewhere heading to hope. But you can still see the disbelief across all of the perma bears that are basically saying, "Hey, a relief rally." And they always have new lines where they bounce and have a big arrow down to $3,000 and something like that. I think if you look at the chart, you see an uptrend, as Viral said, for 200 and I don't know how many days. You are seeing the sentiment coming back. You see altcoins reacting, which was not necessarily happening on relief rallies before. So yeah, everything is lining up. The only thing that can turn things around is if there is such a big black swan, bigger than the sea crisis, because that was also right before the halving. If you look at the chart, it ripped us down, but it didn't create a new lower low. So even that was not able to create a new bear market low, so to say. So we would need something of a magnitude beyond that to make it happen against, and that needs to be so heavy against Bitcoin ETF, against maybe a potential pivot of the Fed, against election year, against everything that we have, right, of these catalysts.
Yeah. Mr. V, are you into on the only side of crypto side of things, or are you mostly on the collectible side?
So my resources currently are mostly in Veve in the digital collectible side. However, before coming in on before onboarding the Veve, I was very heavy into crypto. My thoughts are, yes, we have more financial institutions, pumping money into Bitcoin and Ethereum. However, I do think that we're going to see a really big retracement, or things tank really hard as we head into the holiday season. Retail money is probably going to, I mean, this is just my thoughts, right?
Yeah, of course.
I believe that retail money is going to be exiting because we're anticipating the holidays, vacations. People want to buy gifts. It's coming close to the end of the year. People are going to want to be doing some tax loss harvesting, perhaps, and institution money may as well. Maybe.
Yeah.
So I think when you have enough of that going on, and the money fluctuates like to the downside enough, we're going to see people who are playing with leverage just get wrecked, just get absolutely wrecked. A bunch of liquidity coming back onto the exchanges, and then causing the prices to tank even further. And it's just going to be like a cascading effect. It's not to say that it's going to stay that way, in my point of view, because I think that financial institutions are and some whales are ready to buy it up as they see it start to tank. So, I'm not. I don't have any I don't have any of my resources in crypto at the moment because I've seen the price action move up too quick for my comfort. So I'm just waiting probably until the very end of December or very beginning of January before I start to reevaluate what I think would make sense for my personal financial standpoint.
Yeah. And it was interesting, Viral, you put out a poll, I think like last week, about the price of OMI. I'm going to read it. You said, if Bitcoin in 18 months, if Bitcoin is above $50,000, we have OMI to NFT and exchanges. Where will the price of OMI be? And you had 4 different choices. 2 of them were pretty much below all-time high, and 2 of them were after all-time high with 5 cents and then to the moon. It was interesting because it was split 50-50. Half of the people who responded said that they don't expect a new all-time high. The other half said all-time high. So I find that interesting because we often only hear about people calling OMI to 20 cents or OMI to 10 cents. But in crypto, a lot of altcoins don't always make new all-time highs, right? It's important to recognize that. Where do you guys sit? New all-time high for OMI next cycle, 2-3 cents, or do you think that there's a possibility that it fails to recapture that? Start with you, Viral.
Well, since the poll came with so many conditions that I think are like crazy, hella bullish conditions, if those were met, then I would think my guess is like very, very, very likely that it would reach a new all-time high. Because again, it was the condition that Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, or it was like 60K or something. I don't remember. What? 60K.
50K.
Oh, 50K. And then that OMI had utility, OMI to NFT, I believe. And then we were listed on major exchanges. So I think if those 3 were met, then I'm very confident that we would reach new all-time highs, which in turn, like as you like to mention, would create arbitrage opportunities and help raise the Veve market as well. Now, if all 3 of those conditions are not met, and then I'm not as certain. However, I still believe that they will be met because they don't have to be met the day of the halving. I mean, typically we're still 6 months away from the halving, then the halving arrives, and then typically it's not like just zoom all of a sudden.
Usually 18 months after, is
when it starts brewing, and then Bitcoin goes first, and then the bigger alts, and then the small caps. Just like in stocks, we go from like the indexes, and then the bigger caps, and then the small caps, and then the smaller caps. Same would happen, but those 3 conditions would have to be met. If they are not, let's say only Bitcoin goes to its all-time high and no exchanges, no utility, and I don't know, maybe we'll get blocked off at like half a penny or 0.008 or something.
Hodler, what do you think?
Me tocó el número 9.
Sorry?
Esto, la edición número 9. Okay. ¿No ves que nuevamente son de 41 para abajo?
Talking about the edition number that he just got.
Oh.
Okay, I was just not confused if Viral was saying something. Anyways, what do I think about this? It depends a little bit, obviously, right? So many criteria on the table, but let's say that some of the bullish criteria are met. Doesn't even have to be all of them. From here to all-time high is 15x, something like that. That's usually, even for the worst coins that only promise a roadmap and have a little page, not a big deal. And we have to consider one thing. Many coins that don't reach their all-time high again after a cycle are coins that get diluted during token unlocks at that time. We have already concluded our token unlocks during the end of the bull run and into the bear market. And that's probably why we have suffered a lot in the bear market. And there are still wallets with billions of tokens to take profit. But I think that an exchange like Binance or something can, only that listing without anything else would do the trick for the 10x, right? So I think definitely to answer that question, that we will break the all-time high. And if we get some of the bullish catalysts, some. If we get all of them, I think we go way beyond that.
Ooh, you're a moon boy now, Hodler moon boy. What's way
Not really because I'm to clarify that as well. I said if we get all the bullish catalysts, and then yes, then you have every right to be a moon boy. The problem is if you do not even see the first steps into the direction of fulfilling them, and that is where I am more seen as a bear, right? Because I want to see something first that points me into that direction. So I cannot assume that they are going to deliver all of the bullish milestones and get everything done, and that we are going to all of these exchanges based on no milestones or almost none delivered and no exchanges. So yes, but I would say all-time high is a possibility.
But when you say way beyond that, where do you think it could go? Because I just talked in my last.
Everyone is now Hodler Moonboy.
Yeah.
Even the Sleeping Comics. What are you doing?
Hodler moon boy.
Yeah.
So when you say way beyond that, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so if we get the catalysts, the necessary ones, I can see the 2 cents as a reasonable target, 2 cents. And the best case, I would put it at 4 cents. So to say, if we get everything and all the listings like Binance, then I could see 4 cents. But again, we would have to see how these 1 billion, when these 1 billion token wallets are taking profits. Actually, I would rather see them take profits very soon and then have the masses FOMO into that, and so that it gets really distributed to a lot of wallets, and that you have a big dilution and very, very little of these wallets left that hold billions upon billions of tokens. But yeah, we will see. And also, Mr. V said it correctly. I think there's a point in being in collectibles as well, which is why I have around, I think, 550 or something of that collectibles. Nice. Because I think liquidity will hit that market hard. You see, there are, even though everyone is saying, oh, Veve gets diluted by collectibles, there are 9 million collectibles. If you divide that by the active wallets, there's not too much left for the rest, for everyone. And if you deduct 35,000 collectibles from Bezosman, then you you see where this is going, in my opinion.
And especially when you're talking about specific collectibles, right? Like the top-notch ones, the grails, the blue chips, the FAs of historical characters, those should hold up. Mr. V, you said that you have a unique collecting strategy or technique. What tell us about it?
Well, I mean, I just kind of focus on a very narrow range of editions that would not be subject to any influence on whether or not the lowest public editions get released. I don't look for the high end of the edition numbers as well. It's just trying to match as much as I can while I still can before, and also hoping that the editions that I do collect do get bought and listed on the secondary market so that I can continue to accumulate those, just because I see that I'm able to create value in that manner, as opposed to I don't know, stacking random editions. That's liquidity, right? But for me, like my take is like I'm able to create value by matching as much as I can, because that's very difficult to do. It's more appealing in my opinion for the collecting side. And granted, my hope is that all of the special editions that I collect, I'm going to pass on to my kids, and they can decide what they want to do with them. I haven't even begun to start accumulating or stacking any of the collectibles or comics that I like on the platform for future liquidity and for financial gain and that sort of thing. So I think my approach, my take on all of this, it's a little bit different just because of the conditions that I have set forth for myself. Being more focused on having something to pass on to my kids, presuming that the platform does thrive, that the digital collecting side of things does move on, continue heading into the future. Yeah, that's where my mind is at.
Yeah. And Viral, how active are you now in the marketplace?
In the secondary, it's been a while. Maybe it was this month, but for me that's a while. And aside from that, I basically still go for every drop of what I've mostly always done of an FA or any comic that's worth 50K ish plus in real life. Those have been my two main things. Like if it's an FA of a character I like, or even if I don't like the character, he's just anyone knows him, or comics that are worth 50K plus in real life.
Yeah. And Hodler, you're into the
Now
comics.
this Iron Man Funko sells.
Yeah. What are you gonna do with
I
that? Are
might
you
buy a
gonna
little
put it
bit of
into
course.
crypto, or if what are you gonna do
I
with that Iron Man loot?
I don't want to cash out any gems, so if it sells, I'm more than likely will buy some collectibles or just hold them for a while, but probably buy some every now and then.
Nice. And Hodler, how about you and your collecting strategy? Do you like on the comic side of things?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I have joined because of the comics, and I've always had more comics than the rest. And then I bought some collectibles, and I have bought comics left and right, until I learned from Sleeping Comics channel what is worth something and what is nothing, and I dug a little bit deeper, and also I thought about it from a scarcity standpoint and putting some learnings from crypto into it, and now I'm more on the side of stacking some gems and then buy a secret rare comic.
Yeah. Do you guys fear that they're going to run out of grails? Having already run through the majority of them, except for the Star Wars stuff, but that stuff is really dropping on Cryptoys in terms of FA and most of the Marvel comics. The grails have been already released.
For fictional characters, at least like if you think about the top 10, there's maybe like 3 left. I don't know which ones they are. Maybe Harry Potter, maybe Mario, or
Anime.
Wolverine, anime, Goku, Pokemon, Pikachu. But if they do expand to sports and music, that opens up a whole nother realm of possibilities, or just scarce items in general. If you're discussing MCP points, but I'm not afraid, period, like of them running out of grails and the excitement dying, because they're still there in the secondary. It would just be a matter of letting more people know that they exist.
Yeah. And maybe they do like a Funko type thing where they release, real life people. You think that'll be like a thing in Veve? Releasing like, Taylor
Mr.
Swift,
Beast,
you know what I'm
Taylor
saying?
Swift.
Yeah, like Mr. Beast or, Elon Musk, similar to
Danny
how
the
Funko does. Or you think that's like not gonna happen?
Well,
I don't know if I like that. No.
You know, like,
well, I mean, like even if they recycle the older characters, I mean, like if you think about Disney, they recycle the characters all the time. They re-release a film, or like there's Lion King 2, the Lion King 3, and then there's like all those other variant like varieties where they can shift the focus from the previous protagonist to a new one, from a different point of view, at a different point in the timeline of the history of the story. So I think, and like not to mention that there are a lot of different types of collectibles. Like even like coming up in the next week, we have those metal Disney villains with metal music, like hard rock music playing. Yeah. We have the Funkos. We have like the Mighties look. They could repackage it on and on and on, and they can add like shiny new features, and people will eat it up. I mean, it's the same thing if you see kids walk into a toy store. I don't think Toys R Us is still around, but like if you were to if I walked into a toy store and I saw, like when I was a kid, I saw the newest Power Ranger sword or dinosaur or like toy or whatever, I would eat that up and I'd want it, and my parents would buy it for me. So like who's to say that like parents won't want to make their kids happy and get them on a $10, $20, $50 collectible that they can project in AR. That's my thought.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good place right here. We've been on for about an hour and a half. And I want to thank you all for coming on the first episode of No Bull. We had some great conversations. We got a single-digit Funko Iron Man Veve viral. Congratulations, man. That is awesome.
Thank you. And by the way, I think earlier we asked about the royalties.
Yeah.
I just saw that it's only a flat 2.5 fee, so I don't think Marvel nor Funko get any royalties on this one.
Oh, wow. So I guess they only get paid off the physicals. Pretty dope. Thanks again for joining me, and for everyone watching, make sure that you sub to these guys, Patient Hodler, Veve Vantage Podcast, and Will Goes Meta's YouTube channel. Don't forget to catch Dan Crothers on. It's going to be an amazing interview, I'm sure, just like the David Yu interview last month. Lot to unpack afterwards, I'm sure. And follow that guy right there, although I'm sure you already do, Veve Viral. Thanks for coming on, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having us.
See you guys next week. Well, not you guys, but other guys.